Greetings.
Oh, hello there!
Good morning, everybody, and how are you today? I have just realized I made a typo, well, not typo, an error. I forgot to change one of the pieces of the day, but we need to change wow. I'm seeing a lot of stuff in front of my face that the face cam is not, and it's kind of impressing me. Confusing, but impressing. Okay, that's not what I want. I don't want that. I want to change the name of the set. There we go. That's better. This is kind of a long one, so I don't know if it's going to fit. We're only going to put on part of it if it doesn't work. Let's, excuse the keyboard for just a moment. Diagon, Alley, Weasley's, Wizard, Wheezes. Okay, and then, is this actually going to fit? Not exactly. What I'm going to do is, let's break it here and take out this row. Close enough. That'll work. Then I can center it. Ish. I didn't think about that one. I caught everything else, but not that one. All right. So for those of you who haven't seen me, I'm Delenn Russell, and everybody hydrate. Hello, King Shark. Good to see you. Hydrates are for everybody, so grab your water, your tea, your coffee, your bubbly, energy drinks, whatever works for you, and hydrate, please. All right, so let's roll right back to the beginning. I'm not particularly sure why we had an arrow shot from Fantastic Sherlock Fox. That's confusing, but we'll get there. So, good morning to everybody. Wow. Oops, that's the wrong day. Okay. wrong screen to roll back. Let's try this one. All right, so good morning, official King Shark. Welcome in and welcome for being the first. Thank you very much. Your legs hurt so much. Sorry to hear that. I do apologize. It feels awkward. Let's see. Hopefully I can get back soon. Ow! Grr. Good morning, Mama Bear. Welcome on in. Thank you for joining us. Okay, there. I think we're back where we go. So, Fantastic Sherlock Fox, welcome on in. Good to see you. In stream, that is. Looks good. Alrighty. Eats and hydrate. Well, the eat I'm going to bounce. So let's see. It's grab this one, that one, bounce this one, and hydrate. There. Okay. The eat I bounced because that's actually something that really only works in Minecraft. So if I can actions, we're on a non-Minecraft day. I really need a command that just shuts off all the Minecraft stuff. That would be sensible. Platforms. Boards. Eat. Okay, we're going to disable that one. Over shoulder view is obvious. Posture check. Predicting eggs. Off. Okay. That down's off. You. Okay. I think we've got everything. I think that's the last one I missed. Oh, nope. Sounds are still a thing. I mean, you could play sounds, but why would you want to? Yeah, no. Okay, what else we got? We count down, blah, blah, blah. I think we're fine. Disable a bunch of these sounds. We don't need them on a Lego day. Getting rid of the ones that we really don't need. But squirrel works really well, because right about now, me be squirreling. And I'm not even sure where my soundboard part went. I had a soundboard, don't know what I did with it. That's okay. That's me all over. Okay. So let's interact with the instructions, and we can get rolling. Doesn't want me to interact. Instructions, please interact. Thank you. All right, let's get this show on the road. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't know what happened, but I think I've got a piece of granola bar stuck in my throat or something. Okay. I think we're good. All right. So today we're doing the Weasley Wizard Wheezes. You can see from the instructions on the screen and the box. So we've got one great big box. So let's just rock it on in. Oh, I remembered to bring the X-Acto knife right from Square One. Well, actually, I more accurately hadn't returned it from the last time. There we go. So we've got the X-Acto knife just in case. Let's get ourselves in and start on bag one. What is in this box? That's okay. School happens. School is seriously important. Okay, so we've got a big package for the big instruction book. And then I'm just going to start tossing bags on the floor so it's easier for us to reach. Cool. Not a wise thing to have copped to. Do one of the mods please snag that message and pull it out of the stream? I don't believe that's something that people should be carrying. There's bag one. Looks like we have at least... Oh, we have 10. I'm seeing a 10. So we have at least 10 bags today. That's a lot. All right. Let's see what the booklet has, because sometimes they hide stickers and stuff in here. Otherwise, I wouldn't open it right now. Yep, I was right. We have a sticker sheet, a pair of them. I'm just going to set those off to the side for now. And we have a very large booklet. Out. Today's booklet system appears to have 183 pages. So we will probably not get all of it done today. Actually, I'm fairly certain we won't get all of it done today. But it gives you a rough idea when you start seeing the little guy going across the bottom of the page in the right-hand side of your screen. You've got a rough idea where we're at. So 183 pages, and we don't get to the halfway point until about page 93 or so. Yeah. Looks like 93, 94 is where we get to the halfway page mark. That's a little guy disappears from one side in the center and switches over to the other side. So I'll set this aside because Fantastic Sherlock Fox is going to need the code off this so you can get the points. All right. That's okay. It's King Shark, the reason we pulled that out is just because, two things. One, it's not wise to do. There you go. Third day of school. Yes. Because first off, that gives away roughly your age. And second, too much information, but I have kids roughly, like, not too many years older than that. And that means I know how old they are and whether or not they're legally supposed to be on Twitch. And I don't want to have problems for you. So that's why I didn't feel it was important, or I didn't feel it was appropriate to have that message. Okay, so Geek Out has changed. Our topic at the moment for Geek Out appears to be the Pop Culture Party subset, category TV. Name 2 butlers found in comic books. 2 butlers found in comic books. I can think of one right off the top. If we think of Batman and his man Alfred. But I mean, I'm going to need chat's help to try and see if we can find anybody else. I have to click off of something. There we go. So I'm not going to bother sorting this other than to just spread it out because there's a lot of stuff. Yay! They gave us a brick separator, which, yeah, it matches the table. I know. But this is my favorite color brick separator. I do not particularly like the orange ones as much, although they are easy to find. So, page 1. Oop, there we go. We are rolling. Come on. We have to have lessons on how to use a brick separator. Yeah, they don't seem to include them in a lot these days, but I'm not too bothered. I have a few. And so I'm really glad that they've put one in there, but so I don't have to dig out another one. Okay, so looks like bags 1 and 2 we're going to be building the side shop rather than the main attraction, which kind of stinks, but let's do that and then we can get ourselves sort of in the mood. Yeah, and I think you stuck your caps lock key down by accident. So we have ourselves someone who looks like, I'm not quite sure why they would have used this particular outfit, because I believe that's very similar to the conductor outfits used on the night bus. So I'm a little confused by this character, but it appears to be intended to be somewhat feminine. And we've got, there's the face. I'm showing you that it's not dual-sided. There we go. And you can see the wrinkles in the back of the jacket. And there's the hair. There we go. All right, they do not appear to be a named character that I'm aware of. Yeah, apparently that's just the owl post worker. So they probably work for the postal system then in that case. So let's set them off to the sides. You can get the camera to cooperate again. Maybe. So where is... There it is. Just looking at launching the camera app so I can force it to work when it's not operating. Got it. Do those only come with sets of a certain size or larger? That is a very good question. I really should ask a LEGO store employee that at some point. Very, very helpful to know. Stretch it out. So we got a big stretch. Right in behind the camera. There we go. Oh, I see why. The camera's like right over here and it's on my shoulder. That's why it's... weirding me out for one thing, and feeling like it's in my face. Which it kind of is, but at least this way, a little further out. Yeah. So for those of you that have been asking questions in the last couple of weeks on various Discords about how people do that, so I've just got a big mic arm on the side, and you can kind of see the shape of the camera. But it's just a Logitech C920, and just mounted on camera arm. Yeah. Okay, so step 2. Well, 1. Here we go. Wow. I said here we go, and it instantly reminded me of the hamster dance. Yeah. Haven't had a ton of coffee yet. Maybe I should. I don't know. Okay. I keep catching me glancing over to the side a lot. I just want to make sure that I'm staying on frame based on how things are zoomed in. And such, because I used to use this desk mat, pardon me, as a way of figuring out where my limits are, but then I zoomed in the camera further. Okay, so we've got this piece, and then it gets a blue there, black here, that, and then we can roll forward. Got it. Moving a couple screens so I can see things better. All right. So now we're connecting this plate to another plate. Put it alongside. I'm not sure what you mean by green heart. Okay. This is very chill music for the morning, so if we need to, we can actually change it up with something else later on. But I'm just, at the moment, using the playlist from Spotify for Epidemic Sounds live streaming. I thought about using the gaming thing, like there's another one that's sort of supposedly good for chat and so forth. It's okay. Not great, but it works. Oh, I see. Step 4, yes, okay, step 5. I'm trying to see if I can set a record in terms of low numbers of errors this time. Sometimes when I get chatting, I get very distracted and make a lot of mistakes, and then we end up having to roll back, or I forget that I've done something. This one is pinched on there. And then step 7, we've got that corner and 2 gray pieces. This one and this one. 1, 2, and 3. Ah! Pull that note away for you. We have a hangman game. Okay, so if you want to guess a word, then it's exclamation point guess word, I believe it is, or it's exclamation point word. This one, and then I need one of those rotating pieces together. These are cool. I like these. And here. Ah! 8 lives left. I have a quick question though. On Fridays, because this is a, oops, and I skipped step 9. How am I doing that again? On Fridays, do you have a shorter class day, or is it the same length as it is as school is the rest of the week? Inquiring mind would like to know. And it says we have to rotate a little bit so we can see the other angle. I would love to have it like over my shoulder more, but I moved things to show you guys the super fight this week, and I didn't get the camera the same when I came back. So we can always do that. Crazy mess. This way. Oh, that just gives me more mess. Could not have done that. It's like, what's his name? Hagrid. I should not have done that. I should not have done that. There we go. Now I've got the thing. And I have no idea where that is.
Shouldn't have said that.
There we go. Haven't had that thing up in weeks. That's okay. Letters it. Oh, that's a funny font for the W. Okay, so we're on 9. This one and that one. Quick turn for 10. 3. This one. This piece goes. Oops, wrong way. Can't even put Lego together. Good lord. It must be Friday. Sorry about that. I do apologize, Mama Bear. The movement would normally get me, and I should have warned you. Because, if anything, I totally understand. I have to look away from a lot of streams, just because people are doing things that make me motion sick. Side effect is we've zoomed out a little bit, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Okay, mailbox, I guess. It's Owl Post, you know? Must have mail. Now the funny part is, if they did not include a piece of mail, I do see that they appear not to have in this one. Unless it's in part of bag 2, we don't have mail. However, strangely enough, it's on a different floor, but I have recently just picked up a piece of mail. I'm basically, as I was mentioning in one of my previous streams, I've been working on trying to collect up the parts that I am missing from one of the Diagon Alley sets that was released in 2011, I believe. We had the majority of it gifted from a family friend, and they had 2 out of the 3 buildings, but Gringotts was missing. The Wizarding Bank. So I've been trying to put that together, and I'm slowly making progress, because I'm about, I think, 877 parts, and this includes the buildings we already have, but 877 parts in of like 2032 or something, so there's not a whole ton left to go, but it definitely does take some work to find the right parts. And when I was last in our local brick shop, or local brick used Lego store, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, certain combinations just roll off the tongue. When I was in a local used Lego store, it's fine to be looking for parts, but when you have to dig through a massive bin of white, I mean, you've seen the size of some of the Rubbermaid bins and stuff. These are like the Rubbermaid stack-up drawers, the deeper ones of them, and the drawer's like 2/3 full, and you're looking for 72 of the same part. Now, you would think that's easy enough, but this is like bulk bin of a single color. I understand why, you know, aficionados and stuff don't sort their Lego that way. The problem is most of us don't, and even these stores don't or can't spend the real estate or the money on the drawer storage. So it just doesn't work to do it that way, like to sort by part as much as we would like. Therefore, we're digging through these massive bins. And I'm like that one part I mentioned where I need 72 of them. I'm about 30 something in on that one. So we're slowly making our way through the white pile, but we're not there yet. And that's a bit of a shame. Yes. Yes. So let me just see if I can find really quickly. This one. Lego search. Oh, for Pete's sake, excuse my arms. No, not the new one. On Lego's website, see if I can find the old one. But in the meantime, while it's loading, because my browser's being stupid this week, retired sets. I'm not even sure if it's on their set anymore. Come on. I think I've got the booklet. Give me a sec. Crash down goes something in the back. Alright, so this, just derailing for a squirrel second, this is the one that we've got, that we were gifted. And I have this building, and I have this building, but I don't have this one. So that's the one I'm trying to put together. Yeah. And it looks, quote unquote, looks easy, but it's not really, because they have a good amount of stuff on the inside. And after they actually have like 3 books, so this is actually the booklet for that piece. Big giveaway on the eras of a lot of the Harry Potter stuff is partly that first thing I look at, easy tell right there. So in the 2011 sets, all the Harry Potter wands were just the stick bar thing. They didn't actually have a proper wand as such. Whereas the ones we have now, yeah, here's 2 of them stuck together. So they're far more detailed than they were back then. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to put together. But from the part, like I can't just use the parts list in the back because that's every part for the entire set. So what I actually had to do was go through and take a look at all of the instructions in this book for this building. Start with so I'm using collecting app. Yeah, so I'm using a collecting app where, I think it's called Brick Hunter, where I went with the assumption that I have all the parts. And then I went back through every one of these steps, and as a step came up and said what parts you need, like you see, in the top corner, the instructions here, then I would subtract those parts from the mass total. And that's not accounting for the fact that the little, can't see them too well in here, but the little goblins are missing. I think I've got everybody else, but the goblins are missing, and they're going to be very, very difficult to find. And so I'm not going to count it if I miss those guys, but I get all the other building parts. I'm fine with that. But yeah, so that's what my hunt is. And like these columns, I think there were like 30 some odd parts. There are a bunch of stud pieces in it, singles, where they are, it's like this brick. Here, I'll show this one closer. It's like this brick, you have a 1 by 1, right? This one's got 2 studs high, but imagine if it was only 1 stud high. And I needed 72 of those in white, and that's just the one piece. So finding some of these is proving a little bit more challenging than I had originally hoped for, but it's a bit of, it's an obsession, it's a bit of a goal, and it'll make me appreciate the set more when I finally do manage. I might be able to order them, but at the moment, it's not one of those ones that's just going to like pop up in a used shop all that easily. So I'm leaving them sort of till last in a just-in-case format. And truthfully, while I like having the sets as complete as possible in their original format when I can, really, I'm into this for this... Ciao, King Shark! I'm really into these for more the story part. Kind of like a diorama set. And so if I don't get those goblins, there were some in the Potter collectible minifigures and there were some in, well, I mean, clearly there were some in the modern Green Goods Bank that's been recently released. So I can probably use those instead. It's just to populate with goblins. I mean, frankly, if I had goblins that looked good and it wasn't even Harry Potter, I would use them. Because it's just, you populate with whatever. And part of it is over the number of years we've had so many different outfits and so many different looks from, say, the video games and such, that it doesn't make a whole lot of difference to me. I'm not entirely sure what this bit is for, because that's the bit. Huh. Okay. Apparently, in order to get the spinny angle, or the angled door they want, that's why they're putting it on a little post in the bottom. But it doesn't make a whole ton of sense to me, only in that, in terms of playability, you open the door and you see like a block. I don't get why they would do that, but too early in the build to say. It may not be a playability element. Wow, and I gave myself a stutter this morning. Doing well. Trickle this way. Good luck in class, King Shark. Also makes me kind of wonder what time zone they're in. Because it's, where I am in Mountain Time, it's 20 to 11. I guess you had 2 hours to that. They could have been on lunch. That's a possibility. Here at schools, they practice what's called Away for the Day. And that basically means that all youth have to, and adults mostly, I mean teachers less so, but for the most part youth are asked to put their phones or other internet-enabled devices away in their backpacks or lockers from the moment they get in school, and they can't have them back, not even over the lunch break. They can't have them back until after school. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of the, lacking over lunch break thing. But, I mean, I guess I could say if you're staying on campus in the school, sure. If you're going off-site for lunch, I don't like that, because, I mean, it's not enforceable if you're going off-site, but also if you're going off-site, then it's difficult to, sometimes there's times where it's appropriate to have eyes on in terms of, geolocation or being able to do other things. That, it's a safety thing. It's funny, I don't know if the parents really have a choice in backing up the admin here, because it even gets to the point where if they don't want parents contacting the youth during the school day, one thing. And the second piece of that is also that, I was reading in the documentation, they said that even if the kid has to call a parent during the day from home, they still don't get to use their phone. They actually have to go down to the school office and use the school's corded phone. To me, that seems a little bit absurd, but, I guess it is what it is. And if a kid has to get picked up by a parent after they've contacted a parent, say they're sick and have to go home or whatever, school doesn't let them sit there and twiddle on their phone either. You still have to have your phone away. Go figure. And that one is not actually written in the documentation. That's just what, that's just what I personally observed when I went to help out. Oh, it's kind of stuck now. The shelf. That's just what I personally observed when I went to help for some volunteering. I want to put a hole in it. Come on. There we go. Was that some kid was getting picked up by their parents, and they went to pull out their phone, and the secretary's like, "Nope, you know the rules around here." So, oh well. I mean, such is life. There are exceptions allowed, right? Clearly, there are forms and things available if, let's say, your kid's using a medically mandated app for glucose monitoring or something throughout the day. Okay, that's a different thing. There were exceptions last year, and I think there still are officially. And now I've left-right messed it up, but at least top-bottom it's a little better. There were there were exceptions made last year for youth who needed them for translation reasons, because we have a lot of English as a second language situations going on. The problem with that, unfortunately, while on the one hand it's convenient for the students and for the teachers, one, they don't necessarily have to learn as much about the language because, their translation software does it for them. It's actually, I would say it's a cheapening by the school department to save money on educational assistance and ESL programs. But the second part is teachers get stuck in an awful position because, as my daughter pointed out last year, based on a couple of kids in her class, that some of them, in the situations where they didn't need the translation help, used it as an excuse to play little games on their phones. They just kept the sound off. And the teachers can't do anything about it because the kid has an exception for the ESL reasons. So, yeah, I could imagine some teacher frustration on that, and co-student frustration is certainly a thing. So that's the thing. There is exceptions when it's legitimately required. And I suspect if my son wanted permission to take his out specifically during the lunch hour, when he's allowed, or at least last year was running and a part of a school Dungeons and Dragons campaign, club, that if he wanted to do all his paperwork or whatever online, I bet he could probably get some traction if he asked permission to use it only during lunch and actually proved in front of the teachers that he was responsible enough to actually do so and keep it to only lunch. Ah, there's the mail. There's the mail that never fails. But, side effect of that whole, ooh, I'm on autofocus. You can do better than this. But there's the side effect as well. Part of it is that my daughter gets so used to not having her phone around, which is fair. But I said, okay, well, for both of you, yeah, man. I said, for both of my kids, I need them, to check the phone when they get out of school and are allowed to have it again. Because my son takes a school bus, and my daughter loves to scooter around, like, those push pedal or push with your butt scooters. And I said, if we've got something coming up, like a medical appointment or a hair appointment, sometimes those are difficult to get, and other times it's your mom's got ADHD, so if I actually get the energy up to make the phone call, and we get everything booked, and it just happens to fit, hey, I've got a cancellation this afternoon, do you want that? I need to be able to contact them to say, don't get on the bus or don't scooter away, because I need to meet you at the school, right? Midday stuff, yeah, totally a problem. We'd have to have advance notice. But things for after school, and I really work hard not to spring things on them. So there is that. I'm looking at this being blind because I spotted something, then I said, oh, I'll pick that up later, and now I can't find it. Dummy. Oh well. I think this is a version of Hermione. I'm gonna make her We have unimpressed or more unimpressed. Where's the legs? That's what I'm looking for. I saw them. I'm probably seeing them again, and now I don't see them anymore. Blue. There we go. I was looking for black. That's why. All right. So let's do that. And the hair. Okay, I'll show you why I didn't put the hair on. So we got it close. Come on, camera. There we go. Close enough. So she's got unimpressed. We're very unimpressed. The only two looks she's got today. I mean, Hermione does smile on occasion, but unimpressed or very unimpressed is all we got this time. It could be a random person. What does it say? Oh, that's because it's not Hermione. It's lavender brown. Which, in that case, I could totally see why. Yeah, actually lavender brown. The reason I could see why she's unimpressed, and she gets the mail, is because she's the one that slipped a, was it love potion into some chocolate candies? I don't know if it was supposed to be for Harry or not, but Ron definitely got them. And Lavender was fine with that. Until it wore off, and Ron was basically ticked off at Lavender. We're trying to make her like him. Or him, sorry, make him like her. Wow. This one. This is like sticker day. Woohoo! Big one or the small one? Oh, we got two. What is this? Number 32. This is the small one. Okay, then I have the wrong piece. That's better. There's two sizes on here, so it makes sense to have the smaller one on the building and the larger one is the hanging sign. Oh. I think I know why we have the brick separator now. Less? Ah. No, wait. Good. Like, oh, that's better. No, no, it's crooked. That'll do. Close enough. Okay. So then the owl post sticker. I'll show you the larger one just because the little one's harder to see. We've got the owl post sticker. So it's just a smaller version of that big owl post one. And it goes on the side of our building. There we are. Big blue blank wall. As far as blue blank walls go, that's about as blue and blank as you can get. Excuse me. Now we have a lot of mail. 1, 2. And then we've got a tan or brown set, sorry. Sits off to the side. That. And then another stack of the tan. Oh. Just lined up again, more or less. Yeah, definitely a big difference. And another copy of the red letter. Yay! And that over here. And then we put a bunch of these little blue pins together. 3? Okay, 3. 1, 2, and 3. It just occurred to me the other day when I was out looking for the bricks at the brick shop. I actually never remember to take my measurement device. And it's funny because I have 2 of them, so I should just remember to do that. But, you know, we all know why. But the point is, this one is a brick-built little column, as opposed to molding a 3-high unit. And some of the things that we have, when I have to go pick up parts, like, oh, you need something that is 5 units high. Well, how much is 5 units high? And on our brick device, okay, so this piece, it's not even straight, which is part of why I don't mind pulling it off. So this piece, if I have it square, I'm going to use the other one. I've got 2. So if I throw that at the bottom, this unit is only 3 units high, right? But I keep forgetting to take this thing with me so that I can actually measure it when I'm at the shop. This one has, I just need to put white on it, so you guys can actually see it. But it should be the one I take with me to the shop because I can still read the measurements just fine. But that's one of the most useful things that Fantasy Sherlock Fox has 3D printed with regards to the Lego. I mean, we have plenty of sorting trays. It's just that if we don't have to reuse the space to get things off of the desk or whatever, then there's not much point. So, like, if I'm going to do all of this bag too, then I don't need to worry about sorting it into trays, and that ends up actually wasting time rather than being useful. Oops, wrong way. We're on step 26. Okay, a pair of windows. You would be surprised at my local brickshop how hard it is to find these little clear window pieces. I found a load of blue ones in a bin, like translucent blue, but that's definitely not what I was looking for. And unfortunately, I needed to look for 55 of them. So it was not exactly an easy run. And then I needed also some 2x3 windows, all slim, and I don't remember what the other one was, but it was much bigger. So it was not doing well. What I think I might have to do is, this particular company has 2 more shops, but only 1 more in our city. And although it's on the other side of the city, I might actually have to try and take a look and see what they've got. Because I think it's this weekend? I don't remember if it's this weekend or next weekend. They're having a sale on bulk Lego, like making it cheaper for you to pick up bulk Lego. And the whole point of it is to empty some of their bins, or at least decrease the quantity in them, so that they have space to be able to to refresh what's in the bins once things get sort of picked over. And so theoretically, after the refresh happens, whenever that is, would be a better time for me to start looking for things. But it's kind of nice for like those one by one parts with the extra stud on the side. It's kind of nice not having a whole ton of Lego in the bins, because it's just crowded. And frankly, a lot of the collectors know it too. So like the people who are actually talented at building things from scratch, I mean, as in from their head. So the term that Lego fans use is mock, or my own creation. And proper city mocks or mock scale things have a set size. I can't remember what the base plate size is, but there's a set size for it. When you get people who want to build their own creations, not all of them have the, I don't know if you'd call it time or patience, or is it folly? Anyways, but not all of them will spend money on Lego the way Diagon 73 did in terms of bulk bins and do all this washing and sorting and whatever. Some of them just want to come in, get the pieces they want, and they're out. That's it. Done. And I mean, smartly, they should still wash them. How many of us ever do, you know? More windows. Well, it's kind of difficult because... Oh, there they are. Okay. So, I probably won't take the time this weekend to go to the brick store because, frankly, even if everything was on sale, I don't think my family has the patience for it. I mean, I have things to do on Saturday and on Sunday evening, and I'd like to spend time with the family. Let's go with that. I could get things for a little bit cheaper, but like I spent probably about 3.5 hours, I think, in the shop last week. I went on Tuesday. Oh, I guess it'd be this week. Wow. Anyway, feels like it should be a whole different week. So I went on Tuesday, spent 3.5 hours, and I had a, what's the word? Came back out, spent that long looking for parts, ended up being $10 in Lego in Canadian. So less than American. I mean, I'm going to guess what? 7 or 8? Yeah. 7 or 8 dollars, I guess. And I got a sandwich bag full of Lego. That's it. Just because I only wanted specific parts. Am I here? I'm want T-shaped piece. There, this one. While I was telling you about Lego, I spent some time looking at the top going, where's my glass to go in this window? Not realizing it wasn't asking for glass in this one. So this goes on top. Come on, sit in properly, please. Thankfully it helps stabilize it. Elements of this remind me a little bit of a mini build of the columns that we got for the Ministry of Magic. Although they were a little flimsier, so I'm glad that this is a bit more sturdy. So I was looking for the Diagon Alley stuff on the Lego website, and now I have to close that because I glanced over. First thing that caught my eye was an Aragog spider set that gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm like, no, don't need to have this open. Close the page. How do I... That's actually funny because there's going to be a section of, like I like to talk about dioramas, like, you know, all the sets. And there's going to be a definitely distinct hole in my sets. Because the way the sets are done, Lego tends to emphasize the spiders, specifically. I mean, they are the character, but by emphasizing the spiders specifically, those of us that don't do things because of arachnophobia don't have any set, really, like as in location, left to work with. So, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that eventually. That's one of those, like, mock ideas that, you know, comes and goes because I know I wouldn't action it. But the idea was at some point to build something like the spider den. But the thing is, that would creep me out too, so it's just going to have to be missing. That's just the way it's going to work. That's funny. Okay, I'm following picture instructions, but Lego being Lego, the studs fit in differently than they slightly show on the picture. To me, it looks like the little brown bits are sticking out of the corners. I guess it's just the angle they're looking at. And now we're placing the larger owl post sticker. Come on. And once again, it's twisted a little bit, but I think we'll deal. A bit whimsical, I suppose. It would drive real, like, Lego collectors nuts that I got it just a tiny bit twisted. But it's not hanging over, and it's not seriously off-center, so we'll just go with it. Owl post goes up here. Here. But I guess it makes sense. I was going to say I don't remember an owl post shop being mentioned in the books or the movies. On the other hand, it makes loads of sense to have because we built the owlry at the castle, like at Hogwarts, for the youth, and therefore, you know, that's only one end of the postal system. Not every house can afford to have an owl for themselves. So, even though it's quite normal, those aren't really your mailbox per se. And I'm sure that there are some people, you know, on the move that don't have their own owl, so they would probably need a place to be able to send mail to others, even if they don't have one, sort of like a rent an owl. One of the things, canonically, I've actually wondered a lot about the series, in terms of the story, is how do owls that either the sender or the recipient is unfamiliar with, how do they know who to deliver the mail to? It's not like they, you know, have a central spot where they can go and ask directions. I don't know. Makes me wonder. But you can tell I spend a lot of time wondering about silly things, particularly when I'm awake late at night. And this last couple of weeks, I'm not sure why, but I do keep waking up in the middle of the night, or split shifting the night because I fall asleep on the couch. assume it does have something to do with magic, probably. Even if they convert it into owl speak, it still makes me wonder how they identify who's who. So this one, we're making something internal for the post box or postal office. So when there's another thing, there's a ton of opportunity, as shown even through the movies, for the recipients of your mail to not know who it's from. And pursuant to like yesterday in Discord, in the Discord for this community specifically, the question popped up. I think it was yesterday, maybe. Anyway, the question popped up being, does anonymity... What's the question? Something about anonymity. It's basically, does... There we go. I want to phrase it right. There. Does anonymity encourage people to misbehave, or does it reveal how people would choose to act all the time if they could? Right? And so to add that into the Harry Potter universe concept, if there's so much opportunity for people to not have any clue who the mail is coming from by owl post, then that implies they all could have anonymity, right? I mean, we get hints of who gave Harry Potter his first broom, and one could argue that if they didn't outright say, but the implication is so strong that we generally know who it was, and if that person was being, or like if that person was known, and if they'd done it openly rather than by owl post, then first off, could they've gotten in trouble? And second, would it have shown favoritism or something like that? You know? But another side of the anonymity, I mean, I don't know about you, but if some of the students had anonymity, I would be not surprised to see them happily sending things back and forth as mischief makers, you know, tons of exploding this, that, and the other thing from the Wizard Brothers shop. You know, from Weasley's. Like, why wouldn't you? If nobody knew who it was, why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, I could see you probably wouldn't do that stuff all the time, if you could. Just because there's a reality of, like, you have to exist in life. And there's other things in life besides pranking people. And some people don't like to get pranked, so they may not prank others in return. But if you could guarantee anonymity, it's far more tempting. Yeah, there's totally a good side to it, because sometimes you can avoid expectations. Right? So it can allow a person to be far more outgoing if they, by being anonymous, if they can... I'm not saying that Neon in stream or in Discord when he replied meant this, so please do keep that in mind. But it also means that, like, for myself, anonymity is great when it allows me to avoid the anxiety of being judged for how I behave. I have more clippable nonsense from Lego than I ever do from Minecraft. All right. So anyway, like, it's easy enough to rebuild that bit. So if someone has anonymity, and that allows them to do things, right? It could be, it could allow them to be more outgoing, more bold, more whatever. Okay. Use this bottom bit. Because of the way I squished it, it didn't all stick together quite right. There we go. Let's see if I can do this again without destroying things this time. There we go. That's better. Okay. And this bit goes back on. There. Now we've got a couple of stickers to do. Oops, no, I missed a part. This bit just goes on there. Yeah, stickers Sticker time. Sometimes I don't do things because I'm worried about the perception far too often. It's an anxiety thing. Or, and it sounds dumb, but, or sometimes I'm worried by not being anonymous. I get worried about setting a precedent. Even if it's a good precedent initially, it's setting a precedent for an expectation that I am aware that I cannot always keep up. And cheesy as that sounds, I mean, it could be something like, I don't want to be late for things. I really, really don't, right? But I discovered through my working years, oh, fiddle. Now do that again. Darn it. Okay, well, I guess these ones are going to be high because they don't look easy to reposition. So I'm just going to set this pair up high and then we'll see what we do with the other ones. But because I've learned through my working life that when I'm on time, yes, that is a reasonable expectation from an employer for the most part. But when I'm on time consistently for a period of time and then something happens to derail that, I got in far more trouble than if I was varyingly consistent, meaning like almost there and that part being consistent. But I got in far more trouble once the expectation was available that I could be on time consistently, which then left no room whatsoever for any sort of error at all, regardless of how it came about that I was having it happen in the first place. Oh dear, focus is off. Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting me know. I think I must have gotten too close to the camera. Get a left, right centering. At least go straight. Nope, that's too close. I am not going to be happy with these stickers. I can feel it. Gotta get close to the top because that's how the other one turned out. I'm left, right, center. Messed up. Jeepers. These are not easy to place today. Like that top. Yeah, it'll do. Close enough, finally. All right. They're not centered perfectly, but they're somewhat similar to each other. So I'll show you real quick with the sticker because it's easier to get that to recenter. So we've got a couple of, I don't know what this is. They look like curtained sections. Yes. All right. So then those go, oops, on the top of this thing with the owl. And there. There. Won't press too hard this time. I've got a crazy Z-shaped piece. Z, this way? Yeah. I need to have the overhang. Snap on. There we go. Like a tool. Come on, snap on. Go. Geek out. Topic is sci-fi, 2 fictional aircraft. Wonder Woman's invisible jet and the Avengers helicarrier. Perfect. That works for me. Boop. Let's see. Oh, now I missed something else. What's this? There we go. I'll leave that there. It needs just a little bit more, then we can attach it to the main section. Some gold lamps to put on things. 2 with a gold cap. There's 2 of them. So, Geek Out now is miscellaneous. 2 types of... Really? I know I can answer this one, so I'm just going to let it sit there. Let's see what you guys have to say. They say types of food. I mean, you know, there's like portable and not portable, I guess. Or, yes, you could say food being separate from drink, although some people that's the same thing. I think they mean two dishes. So I didn't write that question. I mean, I typed it, but I didn't write it. That back for a sec. And this is on. We can do so exploding it. Oh, yeah, and that has a thing it has to. There we go. That's better. Okay, that's cool. Usually, I'd say the things that people remember most about Harry Potter food tends to be the candy. I would say that's definitely more common. We've got a blue section. Two. Break things out of clips, okay? I'm wondering if I'm missing something because somehow this is not sitting up tall enough. Oh no, it's just I didn't pin it on properly. There we go. Yes, exactly. So chocolate frogs. Chocolate frogs are definitely one of the items in Harry Potter for sure. One of the more popular ones, actually. And although the movies had them in little cardboard boxes for the chocolate frogs, apparently it's still a product that you can buy. Oh, the other two. Okay. Apparently it's still a product you can buy that you can get the chocolate frog trading cards. But they're not hexagonal like in the movies. I'm trying to remember. I think once upon a time I had one. I'm trying to remember where I put it. That's the problem. Okay. Let me try again. We got lucky because the bottoms didn't really matter on this one. Let me try again and see if I can get them closer to being more well positioned. Ah, nope. First off, it's all crooked. Let me try this again. These are... I do not like these stickers, Sam I am, but I understand why LEGO couldn't print them. Because printing on the inside of a shape like this is not an easy task. Yep. There's an awful lot of different candy types available, not only at Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, but also at Honeydew's, which is the candy shop in Hogsmeade. Although I believe in one of the versions of the LEGO Harry Potter sets, they do have a reference to it. But it's like a side table, I think it was, at like 40 and Fortescue's Screen Parlor. Look at this. Make that go straight. So the bottom two were too low or too high, and the top two are too low. But depending on how visible it is, I'll decide if I need to move them. I'll just go with it for now. So this one sits on top there, and this one on here. Come on. Why am I building it sideways? So you guys can see. And I did not put on the mail. Or not the mail, whatever these things are. This one. I'm a little worried about putting these on. There we go. Okay, it's fine. Because that was the stage at which I squished really hard and had the owl go shooting across the floor. So, another one that comes to mind off the top of my head, we've got the chocolate frogs, then we've also got, candies-wise, we have, butter beers or drinks, and fizzing whiz-bees, and Dumbledore had a particular soft spot for the lemon sherbet. I'm wondering if I knocked the piece onto the floor, because I'm not seeing the central square gray bit they're talking about. There you go. My fault. So central, these two. One. Oh, oh. Do step 3 before step 4, Dylan. Lately, Fantastic Sherlock Fox and I have been watching a lot of clips on YouTube of various Babylon 5 scenes, and it reminds me so much of why I like the series. And I'm glad that we've purchased it so that we can watch it again and again, and you know. But because there was parts I remembered liking and parts I remembered not liking, and that was less than optimal? Oh. Good lord, what have they done? 1, 2, okay. Backward this way. And the reason, like, I remembered liking lots of the good parts, hence the reason they've got the name based off of Babylon 5 sci-fi show. But, as with a lot of other shows, I'm not a fan of the war section. Never have been. It's just, you know, I'm a Star Trek over Star Wars kind of person, right? And both of those series have their problems too. Let's put an owl up here, and then it says we are done this part. Which, oddly enough, for a build this size, took far less time than the owlery. Go figure. Only an hour and a half. Well, an hour and 10 minutes, I guess. So there's your owl post station. Now, it does have little pins on this side, but I also am aware that there's pin slots on this side, so we can put it on whichever end of Diagon Alley we wish, which is lovely. Okay, so we were talking about different types of food in Harry Potter. So let's do this one and get the next bag out. Where did I put my... Oh. Line, you're being silly. Bag 3. 1, 2, 5. No, 3 start. Yeah, it'll be fun when I finally get to watch the Babylon 5 series again, like end to end. The nice part about owning it is you don't have to worry about having paid a rental fee or something where you've got 72 hours to binge watch. We were talking about Harry Potter foods, and it occurred to me, actually, this particular build is perfect for that question, simply because, although that may have seemed very, very rigged, we have stickers with loads of things on them. So in this one, top blue corner, well, where my thumb is, we've got Fever Fudge. Followed by that, we've got F. Weasley's Basic Blaze Box. I'm assuming it looks a little bit like it's going to be fireworks. But Nosebleed Nougat. How disgusting. Puking Pasties. We're not getting any better. Hey, Swanky! Welcome on in.
Hello.
Weasley's Boombox. An Electronic Shock Shake. Yuck. And we've got, what else? There's Sugar Plums. It's probably a shop, though. Need more Puking Pasties. Peruvian Instant Darkness Powder. That sounds cool. It's not a food product, though. And then we've got Disastrous Delights. So we'll have to see how this turns out, but there are definitely some food product items on here. So we can roll that one because I guess it was a bit of a giveaway. Hello, good to see you, good to see you. Welcome on in. Feel free to sit and chat a while or to lurk, whatever suits your fancy, whatever you need to do. Today we are working on the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes shop build from the Harry Potter Diagon Alley set, or series, I guess. This year and last year, LEGO chose to release what they called further shops of the Diagon Alley set, but they chose a different scale than they had previously. So while I'm still working on getting some shops built, I'll give you a quick comparison of the differences. So, long story made short, while you can kind of get a rough idea of scale, Hagrid's a little bit tall, but maybe on this side here. We've got a Harry Potter there, we've got another minifig back there, we've got Lucius hiding on the top. That's that size. Okay? Now here's your owl post from the new sets. And I'll just put a postal worker on the front step. More or less. Come on, lady. There you go. So you can see the scaling is a little different. It doesn't seem all that different, but it is definitely different. So we're going to have a bit of a challenge if I try to mix them all together, which is precisely what I'm going to do. But we'll have to see how it goes. So yeah, the set's a little bit of a different scale. Okay, good. My third-party bot also gives me a chat window that I was using, and it repeated some of the messages about 3 or 4 times, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't actually happen in Twitch chat. Okay, so we've got one of the proprietors of the shop, one of the Weasley twins. I would not be surprised if the build for the second Weasley twin is identical. Let's see, he's got a happy face on this one. They've got 2-sided faces, so I'm going to do one of each. His hair is over here. Yep. In the previous set, the one that you saw in that other picture, the Weasley twins do appear as well, but they had same hair and everything, and one of them, unfortunately, I didn't get the hairpiece with it, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I ended up replacing it, but it just took a while to find, and now, of course, now they've re-released one, which means that it would be a lot easier now to find the replacement than it would have been back then. Okay, so there's one of our Weasleys. I'll set him off to the side. Oh, by the way. Next up. We're starting on the main shop, which means I'm just going to set the owlery off to or owl post off to the side. Last week a couple weeks ago, I had Indiana Jones car sitting on my desk, and I gave it a good old thump with the elbow, and it rolled right off the side, as it, expectedly should, and made a big mess when it fell on the floor. So I had to clean that up. Playing Hangman. Ooh. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me get the question of the day off. There we go. Now you can see the Hangman game. Right. So it is Friday. Do people have big plans in the works for their weekend? We don't have a whole lot going this week, thankfully. Next week's gonna be pretty busy because I go off to scout camp again. We'll see whether or not I'm gonna have a stream. I don't know. The plan at this point is, but it always is, and I don't know if that's actually gonna happen until like Thursday to find out how much I've got packed. At the moment, my head is in a space where, yes, I could actually get all the laundry done and repack my own backpack, because I've been using around the house lately some like clothing that I don't normally wear because I forgot how comfy it was. And I didn't have to go out anywhere in it. And so it wasn't like yoga pants or something, although that is one of my options for next week during the laundry. So if I chilled out and wore yoga pants all week, or track pants or something that I wouldn't wear to camp, then I could probably clean up and pre-pack my own backpack, which is one of the worst parts of prepping for camp, because I blame it on the kids a lot of the time. That's what I say it is. That takes me forever. But the truth is, it takes me longer to re-rail a thought pattern once it's been derailed than it does for me to do stuff when it's not derailed in the first place. So if the kids just do interrupt me while I'm doing my own backpack on the morning of camp, then what happens is it takes me longer to get myself back on track. So it feels like I'm having to handhold them. They're getting a lot better at it. I mean, and now that they're both in the older Scout section, the one that's more stereotypical of what people think of as Scouts, particularly in Canada, then we're actually at the point where if they forgot something or chose not to bring something, I don't have to care about it. I mean, I do, but I don't have to care about it. When they're in the younger age sections, the assumption is that particularly the leader's kids, so me, the leader, would look out for them and make sure that they brought everything they needed. So they got quite used to being able to either A, ask a bazillion questions, or B, pop in and tell me, yep, I've got everything packed. Did you remember this? Well, no. Okay, did you remember hold on, I'm going to go pack that thing you just said I forgot. Okay, 5 minutes later. Okay, next piece. Did you remember, and even after they got to the point where they did actually start remembering a lot of stuff, they'd still pop in anyways, and I'd have to ask them about various things. So there's going to be less of that now. And the other thing is that this particular week, my daughter is particularly excited about, so that's good. Like this upcoming camp, she's excited because it's the permits camp. So every year we offer a camp where they talk about and work on their scouting permits. So they actually have to be able to prove they have a particular level of skills to earn their permit in various areas before they're allowed to do those things unsupervised. And in this particular, it's driving me crazy. In this particular case, they would need to demonstrate, for example, that they have proper knife handling skills. Proper knife handling skills before they're allowed to do a lot of kitchen work or whittling or whatever it is that they want to do with unsupervised. And it sounds easy, and it probably is easy, but for some of the youth we've had in this section in the past, I had the wonderfully unpleasant experience last year of first temporarily revoking a permit because the youth was being unsafe, followed by trying to explain to their not strong in English parent that we had to warn them off and supervise them heavily, or they were not allowed to do as much of whatever it was they were wanting to do, and the parent would probably hear complaints about it because we were not necessarily as available to supervise them as we would have liked. So this year we have a slightly different crew at the moment. In Canada, actually, what's the date? In Canada, we have right now. It's only registration is only open to the returning people, but the quote-unquote early registration for the public starts on Sunday. So I have no real clue what we're going to see at camp. But anyways, my daughter's excited about it because one of the gifts that they got when they moved up sections last spring was that she got her own fixed blade knife. Yeah, Canada is all about the locking and or fixed blade knives in scouting. There are pros and cons in both directions. I've heard a lot of it. There's a lot of international arguments about that. A lot of it being that fixed blade knives are illegal in a lot of countries. I understand why it's safer from a learning perspective, and then after the learning perspective, you don't want a fixed blade knife because there's a lot of places you just can't carry one, and it would look stupid. Not just look stupid, I mean you just wouldn't be allowed. Whereas if you have a folding knife, preferably not a locking one, I don't get the whole locking business, but whatever. If you have a folding one, it's a lot easier to put in your luggage. Let me correct that. Your everyday carry bag and have it available. So like the knife on a multi-tool, for example. Now, here's a funny thing. Because of this whole people can't carry knives thing, culture and stuff these days, I get disappointed that some of the manufacturers of the best multi-tool items don't offer enough selection in their range to be able to get a multi-tool with all the things I want that are safe to use in with scissors, or at least in with a good quality pair of scissors. Now, some tools do offer a pair of scissors, like I know the Victorinox people do, or at least they used to. I don't know if they think they still do. But the thing with this is that they, with their things, it's with a blade, right? And I would love to be able to have basically a Swiss Army tool that has no blade, just because I could carry it in a lot more places, right? So I've got a very nice Leatherman tool that Fantastic Sherlock Fox gifted me, but unfortunately, once again, it's got a blade. So that means a lot of places I actually can't have it with me. And that's just a little bit disappointing. I used to use, well, I still do, I guess. Victorinox used to make, let's put it that way, like a Swiss Army card. It's about the size of a credit card. It's a little bit thicker, and it had a lot of little handy tools on it. Like I think the one I've got has scissors, a small blade, pen knife style. I think that one has a pen. I remember what else. Might have a file? I can't recall. But the version of that thing that's made now, they don't seem to offer the one that's got all of those features anymore. It feels like it's been dumbed down for the stereotype of what a woman should carry. Now, I get that not everybody is a scout leader. I could be on board with that idea. Okay. But I would like to be able to have something where I have some sort of snippy tool. A lot of the ones now come with neither a blade nor scissors, and instead come with a nail file, and that's their only point at anything. Don't know about you, but I don't know how I'm supposed to, open a package, or trim a loose thread on a piece of clothing, or whatever. Like those sorts of things that I might want to do. I will admit I've used the little scissors on hangnails in the past, but even though that's not what it's for, I would just love to have more of those made. This particular one, truthfully, belongs to Fantastic Sherlock Fox, and I absconded with it years ago. And I've offered it back, and he's like, no, you can keep it. Anyhow, so yeah, that's part of my rant, I guess, is that I would like to be able to have more of these in my gear. So in my backpack I take to scouting meetings and events, I actually have, oddly enough, 3 knives. 3? Yeah. And over the summer I was joking that I was carrying 4. But one of them belonged to my daughter, so that was kind of, because she didn't have her permit yet, she couldn't carry her own knife around in her backpack. In any case, so now she's looking forward to getting her permits for her stuff, and we have 4 permits for our scouting program, and it is so axes and saws, which of course would include hatchets and stuff, and that's actually going to be earned by a number of youth, not just the first years, because some of them we did not sort of fully give them their axe and permit because they were too small to use the equipment safely. I mean, they could use a hatchet, but that's a limited portion of the lesson. It wasn't the full lesson. Okay, which one's this? Number 7. This is the Fainting Fancies. So, we've got axes and saws. You've got, they call it knife skills, but really it's both knives and It's like both pocket knives or whittling knives or whatever you want to call it, like a camp knife, and proper kitchen knife skills, because the scouts are expected to be able to cook for themselves. We figure it's fine to use your camp knife for camp things when you're backpacking, and you're lightening up your weight and that's all you're taking. That's fine. But when it comes to doing it as part of a I'm just going to close my other chat window. It's bothering me. Can we give me this one? I'm making a big mess of my chat stuff. So we basically, was it axes and saws? Yes, that's what I was thinking. So we've got axes and saws, we've got the knife skills, and we live with them, but it helps because some people don't even know the proper way to hold vegetables when you're chopping so that you don't actually cut your fingers. So there's some of those types of things. Or the idea is to show them and help them use the correct tool for the correct job at the correct time. And understandably, things won't always be available, but you do your best, right? But also it's knife care and sharpening and that kind of stuff. So we need to work on those. That's 2. Stoves and lanterns. Now, back in the day, that actually used to be an appropriate title because we used to have to teach them about white gas or propane lanterns. We do teach them how to light the propane lanterns, but we don't teach them about white gas anymore. The reason for that is in Canada, it gets cold enough in a lot of the year that by the time it matters much in terms of the difference, as in like being able to... Okay, this blue one is nosebleed nougat. Yum yum. By the time that it gets cold enough that the difference between the two matters, it's actually a problem because the white gas ones work better in cold weather. The user does not. The issue with propane when the weather gets cold, of course, is that it doesn't atomize into gases beyond a certain temperature. So you just can't get the pressure you need to keep the lantern lit. But by only teaching them about the propane ones, the big difference between that and the white gas is just that there's a pump that you open and you pump the pressure in. There's your 3-second lesson and you'd have a permit. Or you'd have the difference piece you need. Am I on? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. So that's part of why we don't. Also, that we don't usually use, what do you call them? Like white gas stoves anymore, or naphtha, I guess is the way of putting it. We don't use those much anymore either. We usually use the propane ones for camping, either single burner or multi-burner, like two burner style. And so with that, we don't usually need the white gas chaos anymore, because that when the pressure gets low, there's all kinds of other headaches that you don't need to worry about. So we teach them to use the ones that they're actually going to run into, and then we also teach them now about a bunch of the more modern backpacking stove styles, so that they, should we ever take them backpacking, they have experience with how to start these things. And there's been times on occasion that we've actually taken a backpacking stove with us as our backup solution to something. Okay, I think I missed a step. I did indeed. So we've taken the backpacking stove as our backup solution, and it turned out we did end up needing it because the weather got cold enough that only the canisters for the backpacking stove were actually willing to do what was necessary, like, liquidize enough that we could actually get them to light. And so we've actually had times where we've lit the larger stoves off of the backpacking stove just because we couldn't get the larger ones to light initially. But also they have one called match and fire, I think it is. And that's specifically broken up into two pieces because it's not just about being able to deal with the basic fire triangle. Here's what you need, and here's your sizes, and so forth. It's also relating to learning how to properly hold and use various types of matches. You don't see match books as much anymore, so we don't worry as much about that, but we do talk about the wooden types very frequently and how to hold them, and what different types are suited for, and how to read, well, not how to read, but to read which sets are used for what. So for example, there's a difference between strike anywhere match and a safety match. And a safety match. And so there's certain situations where we are kind of disappointed about the fact that strike anywheres are becoming far less obtainable because, well, they're strike anywhere. I mean, that poses a safety hazard. On the other side of it, if you have the ones that are not strike anywhere, they only have basically one of the two chemicals required to make the chemical reaction work on them, and the other one is in that little brown strip on the side of the box. If your box gets wet for some reason, you're toast, right? Like things just don't work properly. It tears up. It just doesn't want to do what it's like, light the way it's supposed to. So we have to teach them about being able to be aware of these different things, and that if we make, or impress upon them, if we make a sort of like a pocket take with you emergency type kit, that we have impressed upon them that that is literally an emergency. You cannot choose to use those matches willy-nilly, because those are the strike anywheres, and not only are they not easily available, that's less important, but that then you won't have them when you get into a pinch, right? In the same sort of way that hurricane matches are not just use whenever you like, or some people, I don't remember what else they're called. There's another name for them anyways. They're the ones where they've got like the sulfur mix all the way, or probably at least half down the length of the match, so that it burns longer in windy conditions. Some people call them wind resistant matches, I think. We have to teach them about those because they can put off a good bit of heat, and if your hand's too close to that part, you will get burnt. But then we also talk about, home waterproofing methods and different ways of storage and whatever. But then our group has decided to also include in that making sure that they actually have the skills to use a lighter. And it sounds funny to say that. We use barbecue lighters for the stoves all the time, and that doesn't really take a whole lot of brains. But honestly, you would be surprised if you're like from my generation and previous. Of course, there was an awful lot of smoking going on, right? And this generation, definitely not so much. And I would agree that that's probably best for their health. But the point, sloppy, interesting puzzle. Covered or composed of slop, the thing you feed to pigs. Okay, so where are we at? Matches. So we teach them about lighting lighters, but you would actually be quite surprised how difficult it is for them to light. So you're branding in North America, at least, the Bic lighters. This is going to be the Fever Fudge. So a Bic branded lighter, I mean, I don't know what the ads are like in the US. They're probably similar to the ones in Canada, but it looks oh so easy when you see, Snoop Dogg or Martha Stewart lighting a Bic lighter in a television ad. But they're more complicated in reality, and often many models have a safety on them, and I still support the idea of having the safety on them, whereas some outdoorsy people say the first thing you do when you buy one of these things is you use a knife or a screwdriver and you rip out the safety. Which to me is really ridiculous. If you didn't want the safety, buy a different model. It's not rocket science. But the ones I like are the ones that have a short stem on them, so they're still shaped kind of like a regular Bic lighter. They have a short stem on the top for like make it look like a barbecue lighter. The idea is that you can reach down deeper into things like candles in jars and that sort of deal. At least that's what Martha Stewart wants you to think. There's other things you can use them for that are not family friendly, you know. But, or more adult, I guess. But we like to use them quite a lot because on backpacking stoves in particular, sometimes you have to reach in quite far to get the flame to where you need it to be in order to light your stove. And then of course it flares quite quickly in a much wider pattern.
Hello.
So hello Mike, how are you? Good to see you. So then it flares quickly and there's a good risk of being burnt. Not that you will be burnt, but there's a risk of it. And I've seen plenty of kids that just can't get them lit with a match because they're just too scared of it. And they certainly wouldn't use a lighter with their thumbs up near the flame to begin with. You know, they just don't like that. So once we're confident that they can actually light a match, then they, or not match, sorry, a lighter, then we also show them how to use the little ones with the short necks, just because it makes it so much easier. You don't have to transfer. I really hope that was some sort of bizarre mistype, because I have no clue what you're talking about, Mike. Ew! Yeah. The amount of entourage involved in that? Just about any famous person. I wouldn't want to be in the airport. Even in Canada. I see what you're saying. Makes more sense now. So, but where I'm going with this is then people can use, the kids can use lighters in their safety kits, or some of them prefer lighters in their regular sort of fire starting stuff, so that when we go to camp they're prepared to start the campfire for us, which is great. But then one of the things that we do then, particularly for kids that like to do that, where we're aware of that's their preference, then every year when we do the permitting on fire, we also make those guys re-show us that they know how to deal with matches. Sometimes it's just as simple as being like, okay, you're the one who's going to demonstrate to the new kids how to do it. And that just makes sure that they still retain that skill, even though they have a preference for doing things differently. But I mean, we talk a lot about not just storage of matches, but we also talk about the storage of your lighter. So if you're going to go with a lighter rather than a match as your preference, then we talk about different ways of storing them and stuff like that, so that kids stay safe. Because we've had different ones too where they didn't start a fire, but they had something press the buttons for their lighter in their backpack, and it got very, very messy and very, very smelly. So, having had that experience from a completely different angle as a kid, or as a teen, I should say, I don't wish that on anybody. The different experience was just my father was a magician. One of the illusions he did involved flames, and so we actually had those little squeezy bottles of like lighter fluid for the refills and stuff. We used those a lot, and he had one that at one point, I don't know what happened, but the way he parked or packed in the vehicle, we just hit a stoplight or whatever, and one of the things in the vehicle shifted and landed on top of the lighter fluid bottle, like knocked it over and whatever, and squished it, and I guess it wasn't closed properly. So for about 4 or 5 weeks, his vehicle, even though he would open it up to air it out, like when we were at home and stuff, it's just still smelled like a lighter fluid, and that was just nasty. Because I mean, we're also using it for things like solvents and stuff, so a little bit of lighter fluid was a great way to get sticky goo off of jars and so forth. Why do I have... Just looking at this, going, where are all these parts? But yeah. So before I put my spare bits away, I always like to try and see if I can ballpark where some of their cousins or siblings went, twins, in the build, so that I know what's going on. We have had my lighting decide it's going to be a pill. Okay, we'll change bags. Burp. I will fix that. I know what happened. Excuse me a sec. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's the shirt. Okay, light. Please go brighter. And I will deal with the focus in this shake as well. Okay, that's probably reasonable. Right, just use the touch. I'm gonna be messing with my face, but hey, what can you do? No, not darker, please. Gotta go all the way through the cycle of dark before you can get light again, right? Go. Much better. All right. There's more or less. Okay, so what happened is I've got bar lighting that sits on top of my monitor, and the bar lighting on one side, when I turned it on this morning, I accidentally bumped a button that deals with an auto sensor, and for some reason it suddenly decided that it was going to make these a little bit darker. I think it picked up on my lights. Ooh, are the roads blocked off already? Or are you just saying the roads will be blocked off for him? 1400. Doing the math. Ooh. Wow. That's tight. You really like the shirt. Thanks, Mama Bear. Yeah, so it says herbology, and that's got a mandrake on it, and then Hogwarts at the bottom. It's pretty cool. In about 15 minutes. Okay, good. I was trying to do the math in my head. I'm like, what time is it? When I'm converting just hours, it makes sense. But then I'm so used to converting to 12-hour time that took me a second to convert to 24, which it should be the other way around, but it isn't. Okay. There we go. And these are... Oh, I'm going to grab a tray for those. Somebody isn't going to glare. That'll work. I have a lot of little windows, and I don't really want them spread all over the place. Okay, so we need 12 of them to start. We're making 2 sets of these curved window pieces. Too fussy about these. Try to get the bump going the same direction, top to bottom. I like this song, except that every time it comes on, it feels like, you know, when you're playing or watch people playing Super Mario games that involve they get a gold star and you can suddenly go through anything, but there seems to be a bit of like it feels like pressure to just pick up the pace and rock it on through. I love this song, but it gives me that feeling. I'm just doing all 6 of these right now, because we have to do 2 sets of 3 in this step. Yeah. So many orange pieces. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is not a Zerk-friendly build in the slightest. But there's also an awful lot of purple, so maybe that part would work for him. I don't know. So we've got this. There's 1 base, and we do 1, 2, 3. Lovely. I'm hoping, Mike, that you're familiar enough with the area. It sounds like you are, to be able to have some idea what your alternate route would be. Because this is one of those times where I would be hoping for GPS to be helpful, but I suspect it probably would not be. Back to this section. And I'm going to... Okay, hold on to your hats, guys. I'm going to do a quick be right back, just to readjust the camera. This. Okay, we're back. It's not much difference, but it's a little bit. Alright, so can I get these in? Well, of course. Isn't that precisely what you needed? Is for the traffic to be going exactly where you need to go? Yeah, so what you're saying is there's an awful lot of it. I follow. Yes, definitely. Lurk, I appreciate that you were here as much as you could be. Okay, so I've got those two installed. Now, not those. I need another one of these pieces. Yeah, please drive safe, Mike. We want to hear many, many more stories of testing adventures, not stories of Mike ended up in the hospital and has a bazillion car repairs. So I really hope things turn out well. Politics aside, because for what I prefer to think is good reason, I don't like politics in chat. Regardless of which side you support or don't support or whatever, it's never fun when personalities come in, because whether it be famous people, whether it be, politicians, musicians, actors, whatever, there's going to be extra traffic. There's going to be lots and lots of extra traffic. Whether people drive or whether people fly in this case, there's always extra traffic. And I'm not a fan of that. Exactly. Anything messes traffic like that. I mean, in Calgary, and yes, I know I've talked about our city before, so, it's not news to you guys that I live here. The Calgary Stampede can be like that, because there'll be people that want to come in and party for the period. But then it also depends who the city chooses as the parade marshal. Well, not the city, yeah, but anyways. But who they choose as the marshal for our parade that year, it's a well enough known thing that we've actually managed to get some pretty big names. Like, I think in the past we've had, say, Kevin Costner and so on. Which, that impressed me because I never thought that would have happened. But he showed up. And we've had some other fairly large names come as well. So, of course, there's always going to be the fan entourage that goes with that. Or, well, let me say the fan followers. And what better reason to follow your favorite actor or go where they go if you can then follow it with basically a Western themed party for 10 days. Who wouldn't? Well, people that need to actually, pay the bills. But if you've got the time and the funds, why not, right? And so the place can get, that was one of the years it got particularly wacky. Just slide this to the other side for a minute or two. There we go. Just so I can see what I'm doing with some of this. And I completely skipped the minifig for this one, which is marked as... I do not know. Oh. Romilda Vane. Okay. I don't particularly care. One of the ones from, although she wears purple, she's one of the ones from Slytherin, so not particularly interested. Romilda Vane, for those that care. We want our minifig! I mean, I'm glad they have named characters for most of them. That is a good thing to see. And then we have a heart-shaped piece from the Friends collection, I believe is when they first made these. I would not have expected LEGO to have rounded corners on these if it wasn't for things like the Friends collection. As much as I like the minifigs in Harry Potter from LEGO, I mean they're doing a good job. But as much as I like them, I think it would have been fun to have Harry Potter figures, like the whole set, done as the Friends size mini dolls. Only in that those ones provide a little bit more opportunity and scope for clothing choices and like in terms of the way they've designed them, and facial prints. I just find those sets a little bit more interesting that way. But I don't own any Friends stuff myself, so I'd have to, in essence, start all over, so to speak. While I didn't particularly like the idea that Lego thought at some point that girls wanted a different set of stuff than the boys, and they needed more complicated figures, and I didn't necessarily like that idea to begin with. However, it grew on me over time because of what Lego chose to do with it. Because they did end up putting themes like space and stuff into the Friends series, and they actually had some neat artistic town type stuff. So yeah, it was sort of Dollhouse-esque. But I mean, for somebody who's had an eye outside of Harry Potter to potentially building, say, a campground type of theme, wilderness lodge sort of concept, then this Friends stuff is lending itself really well to it. Particularly right now, they've got a bunch of sets out at Lego that fit that styling, and I believe I'll have to check the Fantastic Chalk box. I'll have to ask. But I mean, they've got like an A-frame cabin, which is not specifically Friends. That was meant as an adult collector thing. I don't know what minifig style they went with there, like which there's minifigs or mini dolls. But now that I moved chat from my other window, I keep looking over there like it's going to be there. Okay. So, but now that I've got a lot of Harry Potter stuff, and I'm very, very much overstocked in the room, even for my taste, which is kind of saying something. But I need to be careful how many sets I put in here, and that's aside from the financial cost. Because Lego will always be expensive. And I don't necessarily hold that against them. They do a good job. I get that Lego is not what it once was in terms of being very, very basic building blocks to build whatever you want. However, like Minecraft, and maybe that's the connection, like Minecraft, you still can find parts to be able to do just about whatever you want. And that's where some of the Lego Ideas sets really shine, is because if you take a look at the Lego Ideas site, just for fun, there are tons and tons of suggestions of things people would like to have made into sets. And for things that get accepted, Lego usually changes them up in such a way that it's not... They work with the designer who built the Ideas set to try and come up with a version that is close enough, but because of all the rules, restrictions, cost limitations, etc., etc., etc. Hopefully, I disconnected a piece inside. Because of all those cost limitations, etc., they're never a straight-out clone, as we've seen. The wrong one. The Orient Express train was a fantastic example of that, where the original design is far more faithful to the actual Orient Express train than what Lego came up with. That said, the Lego version that was officially produced is, I would say, a reasonable facsimile. Oh no, a reasonable impression of. That's probably a better way of putting it. So I'm still very, very, very pleased with the set, incredibly so, and am loosely in the market for minifigs that would help flesh out having a set referring to the Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express book. But some of the characters that came with the set fit, so they'll stay. Some of them will probably stay but be either inside train or hidden off to the side or something, because they're original with the set, so I don't want to take them away from it, but they don't fit the story. Most difficult to find for me is a Poirot type minifig that I am pleased with, and that's difficult because I'm picky. Trying to remember we talked about this recently, about favorite actors playing Poirot in the movies, because I think we bounced off of a Kenneth Branagh reference in that one. But this is actually part of why I'm having a challenge finding a minifigure, because do I go with one that is a bit more David Suchet? Do I go with one that's a bit more Albert Finney? Or do I, go way out on a limb and look for one that's either Peter Ustinov or Kenneth Branagh? The last one is certainly a no-go. I do not like Branagh's basically caricature of a character that I love. I mean, he claims to have done it well, but yeah. Not in my books. Okay, come on. This thing is supposed to be like a lid to the others. I see central post that the Lego art seems to think will fit this way. There we go. I just couldn't get it on the system. And oh, put it away. I mean, I guess I could put Hangman in the lower left corner, but it only gets interrupted sometimes when people say hello. So if you guys want me to move it, do let me know. And I did it wrong. I knew I would do something. So that means the interior is wrong. What did I do? 1, 2. Oh, okay. So 46 is virtually a repeat of 44. And what I'm going to do is actually just pull the 2 towers out and complete them and then put them back in. I'm not quite sure why it's done the way it is. A straight edge. That'll do. 1, 2, 5. I think it's 6. Nope, it's 5. 4 and 5. This back on the bottom. Lovely little brown squares back on the top. You. There. Now let's put them back inside. Not exactly a very solid placement of the piece inside, so part of why it's easy to pull it in and out, but it's also more challenging to get together. I wish they'd done it. Yeah, the way I'm doing it now is kind of the way I think the instructions should have been. Just build the piece and then slip it inside. Which parts are you referring to, Fantastic Sherlock Fox? Do you mean the windows, or do you mean something else? I'd love to answer your question, because I've got the Ministry just over my shoulder. Do you like the curves? They are definitely different than the Ministry windows, because they're actually molded curved, whereas the Ministry ones are pairs of flat windows, or sets of flat windows with little holes in between them, to create sort of a bay window design, which is much more like what they did in the original release of the Diagon Alley sets. And actually, speaking of, I talked about how, like Minecraft, I'm not a fan of my own abilities yet in the my own creation space. So, and it's not even just the mock scale specifically. It's like just in terms of being able to create and or adjust and or I don't know, alter, I guess might be a better word, sets to make them more of what I want. I generally don't do so. Usually I mean sometimes if it's a modular set, I will take apart the modular sections from different sets that are the same sort of module system and mix and match those. Like that doesn't bother me because that's what Lego designed it for. That said, I don't like doing a whole lot of that. But with these ones being different, with these ones being different scales, I guess, and a bit of a repetition of the Diagon Alley from before, rather than having 2 sets of Ollivanders by the time we build the other Diagon Alley set we've got in store. Next box. Here we go. Yes, I know. You went crazy. Next box. 5. By the time we get this second set built, we're going to have a double set of Ollivanders. Now, there's pros and cons about each of the Ollivander buildings in the sets. So I have thoughts, potentially, of disassembling one or maybe both to some degree and molding them together to be one more fancy shop, because there's features I like about each. I don't know if I'm actually going to get around to it, or if I actually will trust my skills enough to do so. See, okay. So these 2 minifigs are different. This is the second Weasley. Not to mention he's got a much more smiley face. So I will show you the Weasleys separate compared to one another, because they look pretty cool. Okay, let's do it. Sweet. 1. Come on, you. Hey, you can stand. There's 1. I'm taking the hair off each of them because the hair is identical. Yeah, it definitely would be interesting, and if I do want to do that more seriously, then I will show everybody. Actually, this isn't gonna work. Let's do it. 6, that'll work. I want to show these guys side by side without them all rolling around, and that's challenging with the hands in the way. Okay. So as I said, the hair is identical, but the Weasley twins themselves... come on. There we go. See, there's the outfits. So one is definitely a lighter color, with a lighter tie. It's almost like a purple shirt, and then a light vest. The second one has a striped shirt. It might be stripes on the first one as well. This one on the right has a striped shirt, a much darker tie, and a darker vest. And then the tie, actually, it's hard to show in the camera, but it's more of a reddish color than the brown jacket he's wearing. So there's the one set of faces. Now, remember who's who. We flip them over, and this is what they've got for faces on the back. So it's a unique head for each. And the backs are printed identically. So the shirt, the jackets are the same, but the stuff they wear underneath is different, and their faces are different. That's kind of interesting. The Weasley twins are so different from each other. And yet it doesn't have any indication of which one's Fred and which one's George, because it doesn't matter. It is cool. I like that. Very much so. As a mod fox, you can probably get away with guessing the dangerous obvious one if it comes down to it. I'm kind of hoping that they're not being immature in this game, but we'll see what the word list has. Okay, so those are the Weasleys. Let's get on to the build part. We have to add 2 more squares. Where? Oh, there they are. Okay. So it helps stabilizing the central window. I can get banned in my own stream. I doubt it. That'd be funny. I wouldn't want to say stuff like that, but it would be funny. You can't get banned from your own channel, I hope. But then again, that also sounds like you've got impunity, which is the ability to say things with impunity, and I don't really like that either. Anyhow. So how many more consonants can Fox find before when he finds the word? And it didn't update correctly. I'm not entirely sure why not. It just seemed to stop updating correctly, because we've got D for dart should have showed up. W for wart should have showed up. as wrong. Yeah. The D, W, and C are missing and should have showed up in the situation. Is it T? Already guessed? But you're right, tart could be one. And if the mod thing assumes that it's a food product, you'd be fine. Where are we here? Okay. I'm actually thinking it's probably an F, to be honest with you. Fox is like, let's redirect. Eco, Pop Culture Party, category Literature, 2 titles in which the United States does not exist. I wonder how they define that as does not exist. I guess we get to define that. Man. Guess for parts, man. Part. There you go. A portion or a component. Well, that's probably better than the F I was looking for. For some reason, the word part, done as a hangman game, made me think of the old Simpsons Bartman song. I think it's Bartman. But, like, that's Bart with an art and a capital B. Come on. There we go. Snap. Oh. I pinched myself with that one. I didn't expect that. Okay, so for those of you counting time, we are 40 minutes from today's cutoff. We have enough bags that we'll have to do, like, that I didn't think it was going to be a single stream build. We'll have to see where we're at near the end and how long the bags are taking on average. I suspect we're going to need a second stream, but that's not a bad thing because then we can roll right on into the second part of the Diagon Alley sort of upgrade, I guess. And I will be making it more of a if and when. Yeah, that's a big one. If and when I actually manage to get the last parts of the old Gringotts Bank, then I will try and do something special to celebrate that and build on stream. It's funny because that's only a partial set, but on the other hand, it's one that I would have been working at for a while. So, yeah. I have thought about attempting to contact others who are dealing with parts and just saying, hey, I'm specifically looking for X, but I want to spend the time to find as much as I can for myself, because I know that there's a few other parts I'm going to have to order for one of the other sets. I've seen it used. Seen them used. So I'll have to do that. I'm starting with the Gringotts Bank thing. I have a few others that I'm just looking to slowly piece back together. One of which is Newt's Magical Case from the Fantastic Beasts series. Because, well, one, they didn't make a whole lot of sets for that, so it fits in the Harry Potter theme quite nicely. Oh, what did I do with this one? Why isn't... One of the windows is sitting nicely on one side, and it's not on the other. I'm trying to figure out what did I do. Oh. If I put a 90-degree turn on the piece, that would probably cause a problem. Yes. Indeed. Try that. Yeah, much nicer. Okay. Goof. Alright. Goofed up. Exactly. Yeah, I've been working on that. I've seen it for used for approximately 60 Canadian in Canada at one of our semi-local stores. To be honestly, I just couldn't be bothered. This is going to sound dumb, but I couldn't be bothered to get off my duff and go get it. I don't keep boxes, so the fact that it was out of box, it was complete with manual, but it was not assembled as far as I could tell. But it was what's the word? Yeah, it was in person, and the cost wasn't bad. I just needed to make sure. Okay, what am I missing here? Because on both sides... Ah, I did it wrong. Aha, this is why they have brick separators. Because people like me, one underneath and one on top. It's like an H-shaped sandwich. If I read the instructions, that might help. Say this doesn't fit. Well, of course it doesn't fit. They didn't build it right. That's better. Okay. Yeah, I liked... I was disappointed that the Magical Beasts or Fantastic Beasts movie series ended. I kind of get the external non-story reasons why it ended, but you know, I wish that it would have kept going. And I think there was far more that they could have done with the series in terms of Lego sets. So I was really disappointed that Lego stopped making sets for it. Actually quite disappointed because they had great opportunities. Maybe they might return to that theme once Universal gets involved with their Epic Universe business, because they've got a new sort of land to an Epic Universe park, and they've got in that one they're doing Paris as it was seen in the Fantastic Beasts movies, and then also a time shift way too many years in the future, where you end up at the Ministry of Magic. I'm really excited about that one and would someday like to see both of the Harry Potter worlds, or attempts by Universal. I think that would be amazing, but that's one of those trips that would be... There's so many... must be Friday. There are so many factors that would play into that aside from purely finances. But I really hope that Lego gets back on things, because Universal will be able to create some of the look for some of the areas that were not well documented in the movies. But I wish that that series had continued on, because I liked the stories coming out of it, even if I didn't always necessarily agree with, well, still don't, with a lot of the stuff that people behind the stories were saying and doing and so on. The Fantastic Beasts series, to me, as movies, while it was somewhat loosely tied into the Harry Potter series in terms of story, for the most part, it offered a ton of opportunities for, to some extent, semi-correcting, I guess, for some of the things that had been missed earlier on. That's going to sound awful. There's so many ways I could get in trouble for that in terms of people misinterpreting, but what I mean by that is that some of my favorite characters in the Fantastic Beasts movies were actually more minor ones that were, say, for example, people of color in high positions. You know, they had far more international students that were not either colored or Asian or whatever, without resorting to far more of the ridiculous stereotype naming styles. I will be blunt about that. Like, I was not impressed that the quote-unquote token Asian girl in the original books was named Cho Chang. Like, can you get too much more stereotype than that? But like, they had some of the Stranges were colored, and I like that. They made it for very interesting characters, because it in that world it didn't matter, right? Because it had modern sensibilities on it. And that was actually another thing that some others that were fans of the series, like the Fantastic Beasts series, how do I put it? Apologists for the series, and I'll use the term even though I don't like it, but that went into the lore and stuff, were saying, yeah, so that fits with the International Statute of Secrecy, why the Muggle world doesn't know, or No-Maj world doesn't know about wizards and witches for the most part, is another way of dodging, and yes, that's a good word for it, dodging the opinions and stereotypes of the Muggle world. We got here. Okay. So yeah, I mean, they definitely felt different. But I mean, once again, one could argue, I think they made a mistake by making it a period piece, far more so than a world piece in terms of the way that like Hogwarts was done. Because when they did the Harry Potter movies, it was still kind of now-ish. I mean, it's the 90s, so it wasn't perfect. But they did kind of now. By going back and making it a period piece and a location jump, I don't think that was going to be a huge win for a lot of the fandom, because it takes the identifiability out of it. So it's harder for youth fans or even adult fans potentially to see themselves in some of the characters because of the time jump. You know, you might be able to see your grandma in those clothes. Like, there were elements of stuff showing up in the Fantastic Beasts series in terms of clothing, which to me bore accidental but remarkable mental similarity to the kinds of things that, say, Neville pictured in the Harry Potter movies. Neville pictured Snape wearing, where he had to do, was it like ridiculous, to deal with the boggart. And it just reminded me far too much of, you know, Neville's grandma's hat or whatever. Welcome back, Mike Burton. How'd the drive go? Did you manage to find a way around the chaos? Or are you stuck in such a slowdown that you're able to be back? Thankfully, it sounds like the drive wasn't too long. Score on that front. Oh. Still left that one in. But yeah, so that was part of my issue with the movies. It also happened that they miscast in the Fantastic Beasts movie for the guy who became Grindelwald. I think there was a bit of a downfall in tone because they had to change up the Grindelwald character so much. While I like Johnny Depp as a person, not as a person, sorry, as an actor, in terms of the stuff he does. Like, he was a fantastic Jack Sparrow, and he's done a bunch of other really good stuff. His Sweeney Todd style character works really well. You know, I think he did great with that. But I just don't think he was right for the role, regardless of his behavior. I think it would have been great to have the actor that they had from the first Fantastic Beasts movie, character-wise, swap right on into the stylings and personality of the version of Grindelwald they got with Mads Mikkelsen. I really like that. He did a fantastic job, and I was sorry to see that he wouldn't get to do it again. Google Lady knows a thing or two. I'm a fan of one of Google's purchases, but independent run program's called Waze. And that one it's a crowdsourced one. So they had used OpenGL maps initially. And I think they still do. Can't remember whose maps they use now. But there's line art style. But their versions, aside from being amusing with like little points and things when you first start, which eventually wear out. But I like the Waze one because when there is a closure for some sort of reason, whether it be something temporary, like the neighborhood's having a huge block party, so they got city permission to close the road or whatever, that the social aspect of that one allows things to be updated fairly quickly by the users. So I find that they actually get the information faster. And the behavior I've seen from Google Maps itself, or Google Maps, I guess. The behavior I've seen from Google Maps itself leads me to think that while they don't update their maps in terms of road closures and stuff, I do get the feeling that they scrape traffic patterns from the information that they're getting from the Waze program. And there are still a number of ads that show up in Waze from time to time, but since Google had bought them, there's far fewer than there used to be. So that's pretty good. But I like the Google lady. She's clear enough, she's understandable enough. They have a watch app, which is notable. So I like that. Kind of handy. I also get a kick out of the other ones. Very frequent updates or offerings to their voice collection. So there's a lot of good placements in terms of like voice choices, and there's also a lot of good language localization. But if you go with US English, there is, in the Waze app, there is a ton of voices that are silly and goofy from various different things, and they'll often release one thematic voice set if you've got a movie coming up. So I haven't yet seen a Beetlejuice one, although there's probably one coming up. But I've seen one. They had the Ghostbusters one that came out, sounded like Ray Stantz and made all kinds of cheesy comments. The one I'm using right now is a Minions one, which is kind of neat because you've got regular. Sorry, here's Ron Weasley. Your minifig. This is Ron Weasley with his brothers. So there's the cheesy, there's the regular road commands. And this is why I like this one. There's a lot of regular road commands, but periodically they'll have a road command followed by some sort of corny comment or sound or laughing or whatever it is from the stereotype Minions type of sound. And some days that all I need is a clear direction and then something afterwards to make me smile. So I'd say that they score in that front. But I also find it interesting sometimes when you're driving along and you go somewhere and miss a turn, because different GPS apps have different sensitivities, it seems, in terms of how frequently they're going to tell you your turn's coming up. Or some of them also don't have enough access to your software to figure out the sensitivity, whether or not you're in the correct lane, and not all of them offer lane guidance. I'm glad that more of them do now than used to, but okay. Here we go. What the heck is that? Looks like it wants to be a chocolate frog. I'll figure out what it is. Dumb. We'll go with it. Now, random pop quiz. I don't know if you guys would know, just a cheesy little tidbit, but how many different actors can you name who have played Dr. Dolittle on film? There, how's that? So we have 3 I can think of. And I'm just curious if anybody, besides me, is able to name them all. Number 9. Best in Jesting. What a lovely pun. Yep, Eddie Murphy and Rex Harrison, exactly. And there's one more. One more super scruffy. If you saw the trailers as commercials on TV or in theaters, I'm trying to get this one centered. Centered on a curved surface. Maybe, no. Nope, probably not. But if you saw the third one, a lot of the trailers for it focused on a ship voyage with Dr. Dolittle and a bunch of animals, including a bear. Dr. Guy in Princess and the Frog. Yep, he's not a medical doctor, but that totally works. Supposedly, I guess you could... Oh, wait. Look either. Why am I... Okay, I'm going to put it on top of one of these for now, and that'll hold it so that I'm not holding on to it with my chunky fingers. And I get somewhat centered. Because when you can see it in the boxes, they always have it beautifully centered, and I wonder who spends hours putting these in. On? Yeah, on things. 1, 2, let's guess. More or less. Got it. I thought I got it left, right centered, then I couldn't get it top, bottom centered. Really? This one? too far to the right. I'm hearing a lot of bleeps and bloops telling me that there's chat I'm missing. I'm trying to... Nope, I'm not really happy with that. Come on. Finally! It's still crooked, but it's far better than it was before. Yes, that's the one, Mike. You got it. Robert Downey Jr. did Dr. Dolittle. That's the other one. Now, personal taste, I'm into musicals, so Rex Harrison for me, but yeah, like the others? It's one of those things where it qualifies in the, if you like this sort of thing, this is the sort of thing you will like. Alright, so this one, right over the door, it says, Best in Jesting. Which, there's no doubt the Weasley twins are definitely best in jesting. We got more signage. Lovely. A number. Let's do this again. Rinse and repeat. Which is one of those ones where I guess this is where I return to the, this is where you chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to move a lot of these windows off to the left, just so that they're not in the way of the hangman. That on screen. Alright. So back onto a pole. Once again. Numbers 11. Shenanigans for all. Ooh, nice. Your parents are happy with that. Lovely. Lovely with our kids. Close enough? Yep, I get it straight. Great stickers on curved surfaces are one of my least favorite parts of Lego. There we go, that one's faster. Once I have a method that works. So, we definitely got Dr. Dolittle. We had two characters who were doctors. And I think those are the only two I could think of at the top of my head. So why don't we roll that one? Just when I'm like, oh good, what's next? What? No more labels. No, it's more labels. I'm assuming there's two more here because I've got curved my hand and this one here. We're getting there. What's this one? This one is... Oh. Okay, I have to get this one right. So, this one wants number 3, which means it says Ard Wheezes. And then we've got Weasley is probably on the 4th one, and then Whiz in the center. So, yeah. Okay. I'm actually going to do these in a different order. Because... that's what I thought was going to happen. Okay. So this one, I'm just going to build the platform piece, but I'm not actually going to put it on. So it's going to have two... not that. Basically, I would like it to be one sticker. Obviously, they can't because it's just too big, like too long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the center one on first and purposely try and shift the other two side stickers off center of their pieces towards the center one so that it's more like a complete sign. This one is built. And then let's roll for the next section. I don't know why, but somebody once told me that these sorts of like wedges with a 1x1 attached to it, that those sorts of wedge pieces looked like a bedroom slipper. The old, stick your toe in the front kind of feel. And I've never been able to unsee that since. So I actually am thinking head when I look for those. Like, oh, hey, yep, go looking for the bedroom slipper. Or the Persian slipper, because I'm a Sherlock Holmes fan. So, yeah. Kind of corny. Once I've seen it, I can't unsee it. They do, I know. They totally do. Because all it would take is for me to, grab, say, Ron, right? And you put one of those on the bottom, and it looks like he's running around in bedroom slippers. Right, so it's going to say whiz on the front of this center section. Which that I can do, I think. Maybe. Oh, and we have to use more than once. Great. They have masterpieces of modern magic, although that's separate words, so I might be able to spread them. We'll see. This one, it's like if you really messed up the main sign name of the store, it would stick out for years. Don't shake. Come on. Good. Oh, that didn't stick. One more time. This is not the world's best content, I'll tell you that. I got it to lay where I want it. Now, can I get it to stick before it's crooked? Maybe? Slide down a little bit the other way. Like not stuck, so I'm just sliding with my fingernail. Oh, squish. Okay. So now that we've got whiz, and ard is going to be right up against it. I want to lift shift with the ard part. Ard part? It's going to be the ard part for sure. But I want to left shift that so that the whiz ard sticks together a little bit more. But I need to put the Weasleys part of the sign on because they've got some specific spacing towards the center section. So I need to worry about that before I can figure out how far to shift the other side. I'm actually going to do it intentionally towards the center because it's all one sort of thing. That also makes it match up a little bit better with the amount of well, because of the piece, the Lego piece. I don't want it to hang off. I have to shift it just a little. You're not straight. Stop it. The other reason I don't want to have it too far off on this end is because after the rest of the word wizard, they've got Wheezes on the end, and there's a specific spacing between those two words. So I want to try and emulate that as much as I can on this side. Oh. Weasley's whiz. Blah, 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 blah. Now, this is the ard part. And yes, that is about as bad as my jokes get at the moment. Now, how am I going to do this? Ooh, got an idea. Is bird. Or not. This one in. I forgot to build that in. Hey, stop dropping. This and that. Have a square. There we go. So let's throw one. I have to lose this hole. I'm being fiddly with it. I don't really need to be fiddly with it. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That'll make it easier for me to see what I'm up to. Need to worry about the end this time. Something to hold on to, right? There we go. Okay. So, what do you guys think of that? We've got Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Things it's not all one word. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. I think I'm gonna go with it because when I take it apart, we can see that the ard bit would have come right off the edge. There we go. Okay, so I think moving them and sticking them on this other little piece in the meantime was a good choice. They gave you a much better way of holding on to things. Watch me having stuck something on incorrectly or wrong so it doesn't work with the system. Does it? Oh, that works. Okay, great. So now we know what to do with the other one. You start with the centerpiece and then work on the two on the side that determine the spacing. Okay, so that goes down there. Now we have... Uh-oh, they're taking my poles away. Oh, good. One. I'm shaking. It's because I'm excited. Well, that and maybe the coffee's kicking in. Fantastic Sherlock Fox and I watched a video last night that was implying that I should not be having coffee with my medication, which is, you know, you take that away from somebody. I'm not addicted to coffee. I don't really need it as I go for a big sip. I haven't even had one today.
Welcome.
I wish that I could remember how to... A mental note for self. Don't have a good place to put it right now, so if someone could just drop in the stream notes in our Discord, just a reminder to try and prevent welcomes from the cheap viewers on blah blah blah. I have an idea how I can do it, like just by adding an if statement into the way that the bot looks to say welcome, looks at who to say welcome from. I think I can do that and say that, you know, sorry bot will still have to ban them, but I'll be able to just avoid welcoming them. I don't know if we'll be able to avoid getting them into the credits because I'm not entirely sure how that credit system is coded under the hood. Oddly enough, I have a contact, but I've kind of been out of touch as they've gotten bigger in streaming. I've gotten further away. Counterintuitive. But the other part is their explanations end up being really long, or they're the type that I say, hey, you know, I'm really having a problem with this, and I want to know how to do such and such. Rather than explaining the how to do thing, if it's something that takes a bit more multi-steps, next thing you know, they code it, go, oh, well, if you install this thing I just coded for you 20 minutes ago. It's like, well, thanks, but, yeah. Yes. Either mod stream notes or chatter, I don't really care which. It's just it wasn't related to Discord specifically. I was talking to Fantastic Sherlock Fox and said I'd like to have a sit down and potentially go over all the stuff. I shouldn't say all, but like talk about all the stuff the stream does. Is it being done in the most effective way? Could it be done differently? Could some of it be, you know, what's wired, what's tired? What needs a refresh? What's something that could be, if we need something new or different, what sort of additions do we need and what are we looking for? And it's not that I wouldn't want to talk to all my mods about that, it's just that poor Fox gets stuck with it because he lives in this house. Are very different, how do I put it? My channel's a very different community behavior, or different behavior than what I see in a lot of the other channels. So even ones we raid that are still mid workday, or at least mid workday compared to out west hours. Things are very, very different in terms of vibe in some of the other places. And it's not a bad thing per se, but it can make the rating kind of rough in terms of style. So I want to just look and see if is there stuff that I've been doing for 2 years that could probably be used, or could probably use a refresh or a renewal. It seems like a big ask because it's a big task, but it's also something that I should probably address on a regular basis. And where are we here? There's a lot of orange windows. A lot. I'll be curious actually when I'm done to flip through the book and see how many how many of these little plastic windows there are in comparison to the number I need for Gringotts, because while it's somewhat dishonest, if I really needed to, I could probably be like, I had a problem with the set of windows for Weasley Wizard Wheezes. Could you just send me a package of the glass panes part so that I could fix it? And Lego probably would for gratis. I'm not a fan of doing things that way, but it's if I got stuck. So let's not get stuck, right? Villain, brain, 2. Yes, thank you. There. Okay. I'm aiming for another 5 minutes or so, or at least what it takes to finish up this bag. We've got 4 bags, but they're small, but I think they might take a while. So we could. Yeah, I'm not going to finish today because I think the way I look at it is if we had done it the other way around, and instead of doing the bags completely numerical order, we had done the owl post section afterwards, then I might have completed the Weasley's shop today, as in like it would have been finished, and then we would have had the owl section to move on. But being as I didn't, and I did them in numerical order, then we have, I'd say, about the same amount of build, maybe a little bit less, for another day. And so that might be a good place to start doing the Madame Malkin's Ollivanders thing after we finish the Weasleys one. Next. Well, we'll see about next week. See, that's why I'm actually on the fence, is because of the whole camp business. Do I want to finish it before we go, the Weasleys one, or do I want to risk not being able to actually have a stream next week because of camp prep, and then have to leave it for 2 weeks so that it's semi-unfinished? Oh, no! Actually, there's a no way, no how on that. Right, now that I think about it, dates. The 13th through the 15th, that's when I'm away at camp. However, the 14th and 15th are more what's relevant to you guys in stream. The 14th and 15th, as I understand it. Oh boy, let me double check that before I end up putting my foot in my mouth. With those of you in the know, perfect, thank you. Excellent, caught that. I have to boot. It's like I have to get into Discord. I wasn't there, and see. What the date is. I'm bad at this. Next one is September. Okay, I'm wrong. Aha, perfect. So yeah, next week there's a risk I won't be able to do a stream on the Friday. But that's just the way it is, I guess. We may just have to take that risk. That said, so we won't finish this week. I'm just going to finish up part of this bag, and then we'll head on over to Bob. Sorry for all the dithering live. I really don't like that. But anyways, where I'm going with this all is to say that coming up later this month, 21st, 22nd, I believe. I just looked at it and I probably forgot. Yes. 21st, 22nd, there's scheduled to be a do you call it? Streamcraft 73 or Dadcraft 73 related community stream weekend. And I'm only scheduled to do one slot because originally I thought it was on top of my camp. And thankfully it won out that it's not. So that works. I haven't actually put in for the slot yet, but I'm only at this point slated to do one. We shall see whether we do two. If we do two, then we'll split it up and do a little bit of this and a little bit of that both days. But I suspect I'll probably only be doing one. So yeah, that's a lot of hoofra, but it's one of those. It's in the works. Mark your calendars. There, I said it. This is part of the big Weasley sign that everybody's familiar with that has the arms sticking out. Got costume in there. And let's finish off this bag as quick as we can because Bob is awaiting. And if those of you who have the ability, because you're on PC or incredibly willing to fuss around with a web browser on your mobile device, have the ability to double park, or if you guys want to just head on out and meet us there, that's fine by me. So for those of you that are here for Lego reasons, Bob is a Minecraft streamer from the Streamcraft community, and he is so much fun to listen to and to watch. He's from the UK, very calm, and while you're there, remember to get a fish, right? One always needs a fish. Oh no, I should say try for a fish. His bot has been having some, I don't know if you want to call it attitude issues lately, in that it does not want to do the random thing and actually let people win the opportunity for Bob to go fishing for you. And the result of that has become, it's kind of corny, I guess. But his averages are really low, and it's become so much so that it's a bit of a joke now. So he's been trying to spice that up with some analytics. But it's a bit of a learning curve on the analytics, so I think we're triggering it for all it's worth just to see what kind of crazy hiccups he's got. But I mean, the other reason that I would do that sort of thing is not for humor's sake, but because I can learn a thing or two from the issues others go through, right? What is it they say about history? Those that refuse to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And so if Bob is doing some of the learning curve, I don't have to because I can learn from what Bob's already discovered. More power. More power to Bob. Okay. My blinky light says I'm a minute and a half over, almost 2 minutes over. So, as I say, we are very quickly running out of time. Oops, I'm making mistakes because I'm trying to rush. It's funny. I think I said this in stream the other day. Whenever. But the last build we did of...
Hello?
I think it was the last build we did of Indiana Jones and Henry Jones Jr. kind of thing, or Henry Jones Sr. Was one that I looked up how long it was supposed to take to build. And suffice to say, it was significantly less than the amount of time it took me to actually build on stream. That's a delend factor. Okay, so the miscellaneous rock is still a miscellaneous rock. It's in the Weasley shop, but it's still a miscellaneous rock. That looks like it wants to be, I don't know, chicken, or maybe chocolate frog, I guess? But it looks like the rock. All right, said rock can go over here. Oops, this way. Flat piece. This way. And, that way. And I made an error I can see, but I can fix it, no big deal. I'm gonna do things off camera. I'm really gonna have to figure out a bit more about the zoom just to see where we are on placings. Okay, we're just about done the box. More windows. Yay! We'll say, tell me what you did in stream today. I'll be saying, I put together an awful lot of Lego windows. That's probably about the size of it. Okay, chat, that's a no-go. I also have to figure out how to be able to delete my own messages. Because you don't get chat monitor buttons on yourself. 2, 3. We're dwindling the pile. See? 1, 2, 3. Do the one that's harder to see. There. It's super chill. Once again, I'm going to also try and do a little bit of testing. That's the plan anyways. To see if there's another way I can make use of more of the epidemic stuff. If not, as in like without using Spotify all the time. If not, and it ends up being a bit of a resource hog, I know I've got a way to do it, like playing a batch of local files. Like the audio player for that is less memory heavy than through a web page. So I might just slowly add a random growing pile of epidemic sound songs. I don't really want to download them all, but if I need to, I need to. So we'll just have to see. I've got to talk to Fox about that one as well. See how we do with the storage. I really don't want to be storing that on my computer. But anyhow, okay, so we got this one done. There. What's next? This needs a cap. We're going to put something on top at a different angle, clearly. Come on. Why can't I actually put the part on correctly? We also need to mess with the lighting because we've got lots of shadows, but I think that's just because I bumped the auto button so that all of the manually set amount of lighting was just changed up. Nope. Double thick. Click on this one. Curve on the front and 2 squares. 2. I'm running low on pieces, so I can guarantee we are just about done the bag. I like what it says, sort of maybe. And 1 spare square. We are. All right. So we have a few, bag 7. Okay. Set this aside. Pull this aside. I'll just pull up the bags and show you that we've got bags. Or what we've got. So 7 seems easy enough. Then we've got 8, 9, and finally bag 10. So we've got a little bit to do next week. A good place to start. There's definitely a couple more minifigs in there and a lot more purple. So we're going to head on to that one. In the meantime, I want to say I'm very, very glad. When's this? Yeah, that'll work. Big mess. Just want to say I'm very glad that you guys could drop by and that you guys sat through the whole thing with us. We will hopefully get onto this next week and finish her up. This doesn't look all that bad, so even if I end up with a compressed time piece, then we can maybe do a little bit of this. I've got a couple brickheads from the up house. We could always build something like that. Just see how things go. In the meantime, thank you very much for coming by. I appreciate it very much. We're going to head on over to Bob's and see what he's got going. He's okay. I have to tell you about the title of his stream because you guys don't get to see that often as we go through. But he has titled his stream today "Lies Damn Lies, and Fishtistics. Not fish sticks, but Fishtistics. Playing Minecraft on the Dadcraft 73 patron servers. So we're going to head on over there. And thank you guys ever so much for coming by. I just want to make sure the raid gets started correctly before I start saying specifics.
Mischief managed.
There we go. So thank you ever so much to those that came by, including our fine friend, sorry, our fine friends, the official King Shark and Fantastic Sherlock Fox, who spent some clues today to keep things exciting. Also, thank you to our moderation team, including Fantastic Sherlock Fox and Mama Bear 65. Bob popped in to say hello, and I missed it, so I feel bad for that. To give him our best on his stream. Also, we had great chat from the official King Shark, Swanky Potato, Motown Mickey, and Mike Burton. So if I missed you and you were just hanging out and chilling, want to say thanks as always, and wish you a fantastic day, and have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.